Although playing draws in Hold'em can be a very profitable and key strategy to your game, it's just as important to recognize when not to play them in costly situations. Some common drawing mistakes are drawing to the second best hand when there's some obvious and aggressive action around you, drawing to just overcards on the board when you think nobody has anything, and making weak draws like the low end of a straight or drawing for a straight when there could be a flush out there as well. Alright, so in this micro no-limit game there are a few limpers that gave you great odds to call the 6-7 diamonds from the small blind. Even though you're out of position, this is generally a good play that has potential to turn into a lucrative pot. Here is where it gets problematic though, as there is now betting, raising, calling, and re-raising in front of you. Unless this was a play money table, this is a fold here because it's very conceivable that in multi-way pots like this one, someone else is on a higher draw. Not only that, being out of position, you don't know if you will get re-raised yet again, as 4 players still have to act, where you will basically find yourself all in committed to a lower flush draw. No matter what happens though, there are still 2 more rounds of betting where even more wild action could be expected. It's just a bad situation to be in. The overcard or you got nothing call is also a weak situation to be in. Many times a player simply bets out to try and take down a pot, and that really could be what is happening here. But given that there is still another player to act behind you, and you have relatively little invested in this pot, I would let him have it and fold. Folding can be a difficult thing to do in these situations, especially when you think a loose opponent might be betting something like Jack 10, Ace 9, and he did not hit this flop either. So, a good way to know what to do is just ask yourself, if I raise here, what are the chances of me winning? If you can't answer what your opponent is likely to do, then you should just fold and get out of this so-called draw. Don't forget, you can be behind all the way in this hand as well. Let's get back to those connectors where, again, you are facing some strong action, albeit a smaller raise, but you have flopped an open-ended straight draw on this board, and it will connect if a 5 or a 10 show up. However, you have several other problems here in that you could be drawing to the low end or sucker straight if a 10 comes and somebody is holding Queen Jack. Or another club on the board will put a potential flush on board where somebody might be holding a good draw too. And since the board is paired already, somebody could actually show you a monster hand on the river, dwarfing the strength of yours, even if it does hit. Here's a hand, for example, in the Paddy Power Poker sponsored Irish Open, where the small blind calls with 5-3 suited connectors and is up against 2 hands that have him dominated. One's an overflush and one's a pocket 9s, and that flop is pretty tough, and it's very unlikely, unless this player is going to raise his opponents out of the hand, that he's going to win it. In fact, if a club comes, then he's in big trouble. You know, some players will play any draw from virtually any position without regard to what is happening in the hand, on the board, around the table, and with their opponents. Most draws look good, but only a select few are going to make you money. So in your next game, watch which players know when to draw and know when to fold so you can learn more about how to recognize and avoid costly drawing situations. Thanks for watching. To learn more about winning at online poker, visit the Poker School at paddypowerpoker.com.